Hello students. Today we'll discuss about transcription in case of eukaryotes. See, last class just we have discussed about the transcription in case of prokaryotes. We have discussed about the steps, enzyme involved and how the mechanism occurs. Here we'll discuss about the transcription in case of eukaryotes. What are the differences in the transcription process and what are the enzymes involved, all these things here. Another thing I have to tell you that in case of prokaryotes, a single promoter, a single operator and a single regulator. These are the regulatory genes which are present on towards the upstream of an operon. Operon means more than one genes, they are operated by a single operator, they make the operon concept. So that polycistronic mRNAs are produced from the operons. Operons, they contain many more cistrons. Cistrons are protein coding genes. Okay. So polycistronic mRNA concept is there in case of prokaryotes, and the mRNA after being synthesized, after the transcription is over, the mRNA is not processed in case of prokaryotes. But in case of eukaryotes, the mRNAs are monocistronic. Mono means one, cistron means the gene which codes for the protein. So that in case of eukaryotes, what is there? A single gene, it is having a single regulator, single operator and a single promoter sequence at the ahead of the gene, towards the upstream or starting of the gene. Okay, and monocistronic mRNAs are there. These monocistronic mRNAs, these are transcribed inside the nucleus, and after the transcription is over, all this bulk of unprocessed primitive mRNAs are called heterogeneous nuclear RNAs, okay, hnRNAs. These hnRNAs or heterogeneous nuclear RNAs or pre-mRNAs, they have to undergo post-transcriptional processings. Post-transcriptional processings, what means how the mRNA is means it can be protected from the ribonuclease activity, how its stability will be maintained, all these things. And another thing is there, a cistron or the protein coding gene, or in any gene in case of eukaryotes or in any of the living organisms, it is having coding and non-coding sequences. Coding sequence is called exon and non-coding sequence is called intron. These exon and intron, they are present alternatively. Okay, and in case of the post-transcriptional modification, the third step is splicing. Splicing means removal of the introns. Introns are the non-coding sequences. In case of eukaryotes, splicing occurs so that the introns, the non-coding parts of the mRNA will be removed and the exons or the coding parts will be again joined. Okay, so all these things in details we'll discuss here. And in case of eukaryotes also, there is not a single enzyme as in case of prokaryotes. Three different types of RNA polymerase enzymes are there for synthesis of different types of RNA molecules. Okay, so all these things in details I have also written here so that you will get the notes. Okay, so see what is there. Transcription in case of eukaryotes and the post-transcriptional modifications, means after transcription what are the modifications. The process of transcription in case of eukaryotes, it is very much similar as in case of prokaryotes. Eukaryotic and prokaryotic transcriptional method, the steps are almost similar. Only much more number of transcription initiation factors are involved in case of eukaryotes. And termination step, the elongation step is as usual. Termination step, it doesn't involve the GC rich palindromic sequence and there is no formation of stem loop like structure as I have discussed in the last class in case of prokaryotic transcripts. Okay, so these are the only differences. Next, another thing, three different types of RNA polymerase enzymes are involved in case of eukaryotic transcription and what type of RNA they are synthesizing. All these things, see this is there. 3 RNA polymerases are there. RNA polymerase 1, RNA polymerase 2 and RNA polymerase 3. RNA polymerase 1, it just transcribes the genes which codes for 4 different rRNA molecules. rRNA means ribosomal RNAs. What are the ribosomal RNAs? Means which are synthesized from the genes by the enzyme RNA polymerase 1. It is 18S, 23S, 28S and 5.8S rRNA molecules. All these 4 different types of rRNA molecule coding genes are transcribed by RNA polymerase 1. Second, RNA polymerase 2, it just transcribes the genes which code for the proteins, means the cistrons. Cistrons are the genes which code for the proteins, means they will synthesize, thus they will transcribe the mRNA. So mRNA transcribing enzyme in case of eukaryotes is RNA polymerase 2. Okay, then RNA polymerase 3. RNA polymerase 3, it transcribes the genes which code for all the tRNAs. What are the types of tRNAs present in case of eukaryotes and in all the systems? See what is there. We know that universally 20 amino acids are there, forming the million types of proteins, having million types of sequences. But all these proteins are made up of only 20 amino acids, and 20 amino acids must be collected from the cytoplasm by 20 different types of tRNA molecules. So all these tRNA coding genes are transcribed by RNA polymerase 3, and the rest of rRNA, 5 different types of rRNAs are there. Ribosomal RNAs are 5 different types. 4 are transcribed by polymerase 1 and RNA polymerase 3. As well as it transcribes the genes coding for tRNA, it also transcribes the gene which codes for 5S rRNA. Okay, so these are the 3 different types of enzymes and the types of genes they transcribe. Okay, then about the steps. In case of eukaryotes, the steps are initiation, elongation and termination as in case of prokaryotes, and I will also copy the link in the description box so that you will be clear again. Means I will link the copy of transcription in case of prokaryotes what I have discussed last class. Initiation process is almost similar, everything is similar, only much more number of initiation factors are involved. They will bring the RNA polymerase and load in the promoter region, nothing else. Then elongation process is as usual, RNA polymerase will unwind the double stranded DNA and RNA will be synthesized from the template strand. Then termination process, it is also similar, just towards the last, the terminator zone in case of the template, it is not having the GC rich palindromic sequence, so there is no formation of stem loop structure in the RNA, just the involvement of rho protein is there, so that termination occurs. So this is about the transcription in case of eukaryotes. Then after being transcription is over, what happens? All these unprocessed primitive mRNAs are called heterogeneous nuclear RNAs, what I have just discussed. These hnRNAs, they undergo 3 different types of post-transcriptional modifications. These are, the first one is 5' capping. 5' capping means what? I have also told you that all the mRNA molecules, they start with 5' and end with 3' as the synthesis is only in the single direction, that is 5' to 3'. So 5' capping means what? The 5' end of the mRNA will be attached with M7G. What is M7G? It is 7-methyl guanosine triphosphate. See, different types of mRNA molecules are there and they must be starting with different types of nucleotides. But during this processing, the first nucleotide, after being capped, the first nucleotide of all the mRNAs will be having the M7G, means guanine residue in which the 7th position is methylated. Methyl group is there in the guanine or the first nucleotide, which is attached towards the 5' end of the mRNA. What is the need of this? See, methylated nucleotides cannot be attacked by ribonuclease enzymes, so that after synthesis is over, after transcription is over, these mRNAs, they have to move towards the cytoplasm and attach with a particular ribosome for the synthesis of protein. And unless the translation or protein synthesis is complete, the mRNA should be very much protected from the ribonuclease activities. So the mRNA, it is protected by the 5' capping. Cap is the M7G, that is the guanine residue which is methylated in the 7th position, so that ribonuclease activity cannot be done. Ribonucleases cannot attack the mRNA and it protects the mRNA from the ribonuclease activity. So this cap, it protects the mRNA. Second, 3' polyadenylation. Poly means many, adenylation means attachment of adenine residues. So 200 to 300 adenine residues are linked towards the 3' end of the mRNA, and it is also known as 3' tailing. Edge, it is known as capping. The head means towards the 5'. It is tailing means towards the last end, that is 3'. 3' tailing. What is the role of this 3' tailing or polyadenylation? By this, the mRNA maintains its stability and it helps in mobility of the mRNA molecule in the cytoplasm, so that it will bind to the ribosome, either attached to the endoplasmic reticulum or any of the free scattered ribosomes present in the cytoplasm. So this is polyadenylation, which is helpful for maintaining stability of RNA. Then third one, splicing. What is splicing? See, I have just also told you about the exons and introns. Many of the genes which code for the proteins or any of the tRNA or RNA molecules, almost all the genes, they are having coding and non-coding sequences. Coding sequences are called exons and non-coding sequences are called introns, which are present repeatedly one after another, means they are present alternatively. So introns, they could not code for the proteins. See, after being synthesis, this is the primitive mRNA. It is 5' capped and 3' tail is also attached. Then after, the introns have to be removed out. Okay, this is the third process, splicing. What happens? The last nucleotide of the exon and the first nucleotide of the intron, they must be linked by 3' 5' phosphodiester linkage, and as well as this last nucleotide of the intron and the first nucleotide of the next exon, they must be also linked by 3' 5' phosphodiester linkage. These linkages are broken, and the introns are removed and the exons, they are linked to one another. So after the splicing process is over, only the mRNA, the mature mRNA here contains only the exons. Introns are removed, the non-coding sequences are removed. So how the splicing occurs? Splicing occurs by spliceosome formation. What is spliceosome? Spliceosomes are formed by snRNPs. What are snRNPs? Small nucleotide ribonucleoprotein complexes. These snRNPs, they form the spliceosome, a complex which attach here and here. Okay, in the junctions of exon and intron, these spliceosomes are attached, and these spliceosomes, they break the 3' 5' phosphodiester linkages in the joining point of exon and intron, and the introns are removed. These introns are removed and the exons, they are linked. Okay, and all the process of splicing in a very details I will teach in the next class. Okay, so this is all about the transcription method in case of eukaryotes, the enzymes involved and the process, then about the post transcriptional events in shortcuts. And in the next class I will tell you the total method of splicing in a very detailed manner, that what are the types of spliceosomes formed, how the splicing occurs, how the phosphodiester linkages are broken, and how the exons, they are linked, what are the accessory proteins involved in the case of splicing also. So like, share and comment me if you have any doubt, and subscribe my channel for the upcoming videos. Thank you.